The Astros cap off a rather tough road trip between Baltimore and Philly with a series loss against the Phillies, a series that they certainly did deserve to lose. Philly is a great team, so, obviously they had to take the series from them. After the Astros had dropped the first two games, embarrassingly, they capped it off with a fantastic, no pun intended, blowout win in the series finale yesterday. So it's Thursday when I'm recording this, but we've got a lot to talk about in this video, so stay tuned. Phillies took 2 out of 3 from the Astros this week. The Astros certainly could have won this series given how the first game went, but it is what it is. But let's talk about the series nonetheless. First things first, let's dive into a couple of roster updates and some other news about the Astros here. So the Astros, per a source, nothing has actually been finalized as of when I'm recording this video, but the Astros have been looking on finalizing a deal on signing outfielder Jason Heyward, who was DFA'd by the Dodgers last week. And if the Astros could sign him to a deal before the start of September, then that would make him postseason eligible. Jason Heyward has been pretty okay, I guess. I mean, he's 37 years old, but I still think maybe the Astros could see if they've got a little bit left in him. But given the fact that Kyle Tucker is still hurt and the combined OPS of the Astros 3 outfielders is the worst in MLB, getting some outfield depth might help just a little bit. But to clear a roster spot for him, unfortunately, Chas McCormick was optioned down to AAA Sugarland. And this doesn't shock me as much. It surprises me a little bit, but given the fact that Chas McCormick has had a pretty tough season up to this point, I'm not too surprised by it. So hopefully he can try to consider going down there. I mean, he may unfortunately need to stay down there for the rest of the regular season, considering the fact that it is September, and I'm not sure how it works when it comes to like recalling players up from AAA and stuff like that in the month of September. I still think you can, but I don't know. But speaking of September, the Astros do, aside from the fact that the Astros do have a tough schedule, the Astros may consider guys like Forrest Whitley, who made his major league debut last year, and also Rafael Montero, who was outrated to AAA Sugarland back in July. The Astros are considering those two guys for their potential September call-ups because one cool thing that MLB lets teams do in September is that the rosters expand to 42 players up from 40, so you can call up 2 different players, and they can be both pitchers, both position players, or one of each, I believe. And that just allows you to have a couple of extra guys on your roster as you prepare for the playoffs, assuming you're going to make a push for one, that is, which hopefully the Astros will do. But anyway, speaking of Kyle Tucker, which I did mention that he's still hurt, he did start sprinting this week, and running the bases for him is going to be his final hurdle before he can go on a rehab stint. Obviously, he would need to be full on running for him to be able to actually be fully ready. But hopefully he can come back really soon, because Dana Brown did hint that he could potentially come within the first week or first 10 days or so of September. Hopefully that's the case. But diving into the series itself, starting here in this first game, the Astros did get some key contributions from their rookies, particularly Shea Whitcomb, who had got the scoring started in this game with a 2-run double, but unfortunately it was not enough, as the Astros would end up finishing 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position, and technically 0 for 9 for the rest of the night, not including that big hit. The bullpens did shine in this game, with Brian King getting a couple of strikeouts out of the bullpen, but unfortunately it was the Phillies getting the last word in this game, walking it off in Manfred innings, courtesy of Bryce Harper. So it was a rather heartbreaking loss given how well the Astros had played to stay in this game. But when you finish 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position, there's really not much of there's really no way you're going to win this game, because your pitching can only do so much against Aaron Nola. They didn't have a runner reach third base in this game, and I think they only had maybe 2 chances to bet 2 ABs or something like that with a runner on second base. But obviously, Aaron Nola is a good pitcher, so the Phillies overall have very good pitchings, and it really showed in the series, that's for sure. But luckily, the Astros were able to salvage the series finale. Just like clockwork, the Astros usually do a pretty decent job at avoiding sweeps these days when they're facing it, so that's kind of interesting. But the highlights of this game were that Yordan would hit not 1, not 2, but 3 home runs, and then Spencer Arrighetti would carry a no-hitter into the 8th inning behind, I believe, 11 strikeouts on the day. So overall, it was a very good day for Spencer Arrighetti. Spencer Arrighetti has really proven himself. I think that there's a good chance that he could make the postseason roster. Now, personally, I think he might end up being an odd man out. There's a chance he could make the starting rotation, perhaps in a 7-game series. but maybe in a 5-game series they could probably use him out of the bullpen, but we'll see. I'm not 100% sure how they could potentially use him in a postseason role. But overall, dude, I mean, despite the fact that the Astros have had guys like Garrett Cole leave, Charlie Morton leave, and also former Cy Young winner Dallas Keuchel leave. Other young guys like Luis Garcia, Framber Valdez, Christian Javier have emerged in the more first half of this decade. And then now you got Ronel Blanco and Spencer Arrighetti emerging this season. And that's how you have a decade of dominance. Just, when you have veterans leave in free agency, you call up young guys and let them dominate. That's how you just keep winning. Diving into this game itself, like I said, Yordan hit 3 home runs in this game, the 3rd time in his career that he has done that. And Arrighetti carried a no-hitter into the 8th inning, but it wasn't without some good defensive plays, with Dubon making another stellar jumping catch to preserve the no-hitter to end the 7th inning. But personally, this obviously was a great catch. But personally, the one that he made in Baltimore was a lot better than this. This one he made in Philly wasn't even the best one that he made. But the scoring started in the top of the 1st inning after Tyree Walker had attempted a pickoff throw to Jeremy Pena, who was leaning off of first base. And Jose Altuve was able to catch Bryce Harper napping on the play, and he was able to steal home to get the scoring started for the Astros. Sadly, that'd be the only run that they'd score in the 1st innings, despite the fact that they had the first 2 men reach in that inning. But going straight here to the 4th inning, the Astros had scored 5 times. It started with Ben Gamel hitting what appeared to be a 2-run home run, and initially it was ruled home run. However, the umpires had come to review and determined that there was fan interference on the play. Thus, the home run would not count, and the Phillies would catch a bit of a break, but the Astros still had a good opportunity with 2 men in scoring position and no outs. Jake Myers would come through on the very next batter and plate both of them with a 2-run single, and then Mauricio Dubon would hit another RBI single of his own to make it 4-zip, and then Yordan Alvarez would cap it off with a 2-run blast to left field. That was practically off the plate. He can hit anything, let's be honest. But jumping straight to the 7th inning, like I said, that home run by Yordan was the first of 3 home runs that he would hit, the second of which came in the 7th inning on a 423-foot blast to the Phillies bullpen, so a little bit more like it. And then going into the 8th inning, like I said, Spencer Arrighetti would take a no-hitter into this inning. Chas McCormick, the Philly native, would hit a 2-run blast to make it 9-0 over that right center field wall where he made that iconic jumping catch in Game 5 of the World Series a couple years ago. And then Yordan Alvarez would go back-to-back with him with his 3rd home run on the day, put the cherry on top of the ice cream sundae, and make it 10-0. Though, going into the bottom of the 8th inning, unfortunately, like I said, Spencer Arrighetti was unable to complete the no-hitter. This feels like this is probably the 5th time this year the Astros have carried a no-hitter into the 6th inning or later. We technically should have 2 no-hitters this year if it weren't for Framber Valdez losing his with 2 outs in Arlington. Spencer Arrighetti still pitched masterfully in this game. He went 7.2 innings with 11 strikeouts, with only 4 walks. The walks, I think, might have hurt him a little bit, but it didn't really matter that much, I don't think. So overall, like I said, very good game for the Astros. That Brian King would get the final 4 outs over the course of this game to allow the Astros to win 10-0, salvaging the series finale. And despite that, they still lost the series. But I think to our credit, Philly's a pretty decent team, so they kind of deserve it. But let's preview real quick the Kansas City Royals series, which will be up next for the Astros starting tonight. Kansas City is a very good team. Bobby Witt Jr., he has had a heck of a year. He's not going to have an MVP. He is definitely having an MVP caliber season. And honestly, he's probably not going to win AL MVP because, there's a guy out there that's on pace for hitting 60 home runs this season. But Salvador Perez, he is the one guy that's left, I think, from the Kansas City Royals 2015 World Series championship team. He can still hit home runs. I think those are probably going to be the 2 guys in this lineup. Their pitching, of course, is great. I think pitching is going to be deciding this series. Whoever's offense is kept in check, the Royals definitely have a better offense than the Astros, certainly coming in. Even though the Astros are coming off having scored 10 runs against a very talented Phillies team, that's not to say that they're going to be scoring 10 runs or something like that against this Royals team who are definitely contending for first in the AL Central. They took 3 out of 4 against the Guardians earlier this week, and they're contending for first place in the division. I was not expecting the Royals to be contending this hard this year because, like I said in my prediction video at the beginning of this year, I had said that I was going to have the Twins winning this division, and they're certainly still in the mix for it, but, they still got a lot of work to do. So, also looking around the other playoff standings, the Astros can certainly still for one of the top 2 spots in the American League, so that they could get a bye into the division series. You know, I think there's still like 5 games out of that behind the Guardians, and then obviously whoever wins the Central is going to get that bye. And if that team is going to be the Royals, then that could be an issue for the Astros when it comes to tiebreakers at the end of the season, because the Royals are up 3-0 on the Astros on the season. And, I mean, unless the Astros can sweep them this weekend, which I don't think they're going to do, then, I mean, that could be an issue for them. Personally, I think best case scenario is that they split this series, take 2 out of 4. I mean, winning 3 out of 4 would actually be great. But, I mean, I would be happy with a series split against this Kansas City Royals team. So that's going to be my bare minimum for us to be considered this series a success. Obviously, the Mariners do have a slightly easier schedule. So, I mean, the Astros do need to get back to playing some good baseball, because we've got the Royals this week and we've got the Reds after that. We've got the Oakland A's for a couple of games who have been red hot since the All-Star break. We've got the Padres on the road for 3 games who have also been a good team since the All-Star break. The only easy team I see in the mix are the Angels, which we play for 7 games. I think 1 series at home, 1 series in Anaheim to finish it off. And then we've got the Mariners and Guardians to wrap the season up. So that is still a very tough month of September. I mean, I thought it was going to be it's not as hard as this month, but it's still going to be a tough month nonetheless, given where the teams that we're playing in the month of September are currently at, like, you know, as we kind of start the month here. So anyway, guys, that's going to do for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you want to see more of these videos, consider subscribing. I post maybe 2 of these every single week, plus my reaction videos, of course. If you want to see, and if you want to potentially see one of those videos, then click one of these that are above my shoulders. Maybe it's up there. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed, like I said, and I'll see you guys in the next video.